How did we get here? I don't mean that as a rhetorical question. I really wanted to know. I'm not part of the mainstream media. I'm a journalism professor and writer from one of the most conservative states in the country. And so I spent almost 2 years traveling down to the border to find out for myself. This is what I learned.
I think that those two extremes divide us extremely, and we close ourselves to understand the other.
It builds people's ability, it builds their families, it builds their education. We have this country we've got to share with other people.
There's been any new staff hired at the courts? None. And, they've gone from having, 3 or 4 judges with a docket to having dockets that are, over 350 people each day.
When I wore that uniform, I was so proud. I was so proud, coming back from the war, I felt like a hero. And I just don't feel that way anymore. It's almost like I feel like we didn't do enough.
For someone from Arkansas, the Mexican border was always something just a little intangible. I heard about the border much in the same way that you probably have. Through sporadic reports when something would happen, like an influx of illegal crossings, some kind of violence, or something to do with the war on drugs. Unless somebody was talking about their vacation, any news out of Mexico typically wasn't good. In my community, probably like yours, I've seen pockets of Hispanic people grow over the years. And I, probably like you, just had a vague mental connection that they came from Mexico and let whatever stereotypes I had fill in the details. I understood on some level that there was a lot that I didn't know, but if I'm being honest here, I just didn't care enough to find out. That all changed when I decided to spend a summer on the South Texas coast. And then this happened.
We will build a great wall along the southern border. Mexico will pay for the wall.
When the Trump administration issued a zero-tolerance policy for undocumented migrants, the violation for an illegal crossing changed from a civil offense to a criminal one with a 100% prosecution rate. When that happened, there was a fundamental shift of how Customs and Border Patrol dealt with the offenders. Namely, adults were arrested and put in jail. Before, family units were kept together, but U.S. law doesn't allow kids in adult detention facilities. What happened next was that ICE and Border Patrol began forcefully separating children from their parents. To make matters worse, this policy was enacted so quickly that neither ICE or Border Patrol had the manpower, facilities, or budget to handle the massive influx of adults and children in detention. To handle the overflow, they began placing them in for-profit detention facilities like this remodeled Walmart supercenter in Brownsville. Chaos ensued, and reports came out of kids being shipped all over the country and placed in foster care systems. In some cases without notifying their parents, in other cases never documenting who their parents were. Soon after, migrants began talking about freezing in hiatus or ice boxes and sleeping in crowded cells, and more reports came out of people being warehoused in crowded cages in horrific conditions. At the time, the border was actually experiencing a 20-year low for migratory crossings. Those coming were mostly from Central America, fleeing violence in their home countries and requesting asylum. But when the word spread that the U.S. border may be closing completely, human traffickers began encouraging people to go now before it's too late, resulting in an almost immediate spike in migration toward the United States. The response from the American people has mostly fallen into two camps: those outraged at the treatment of migrants, and those who have simply said, "Good."